Top of the morning to you, and you're welcome to Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where we give you everything sport right here on the go. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, and this wonderful morning we'll be looking at sport from the local front and also the European scene. Still to the world of basketball, and also giving you updates from the UEFA Champions League. The Flamingos, yes, were defeated against France 1-0. All this and more on the show this wonderful morning. I have the expert analyst himself, Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted report. Top of the morning to you, Samson. How are you feeling this wonderful morning?
Well, top of the morning to you, Toluwani. It's really nice to be here to talk sport on a Thursday like this, and most definitely there are a lot to talk about. Yes, you spoke about the Flamingos. They almost did it, but unfortunately, something is totally wrong with that team. In fact, if I say something is wrong with that team, that will be an understatement. A lot is wrong with the team, and I feel like the coach got it wrong in some areas. And while trying to go back to status quo, unfortunately, they could not, pull through. So it's really a disaster happening right there, and I do feel that it still can be corrected one way or the other. Let's see how it happens with other teams in other groups, and the third placed ranked team, and see how that favors them if they are able to win against Samoa. But as it stands, sports in Nigeria is crumbling. And when the structure collapses while the builder is still in it, I mean that's really disastrous.
Yes, honestly, I agree. And we'll be looking at that front coming through from Rivers United. Rivers United against the Black Bulls, tie postponed. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has confirmed the rescheduling of Rivers United CAF Champions League. Second clash against Black Bulls of Mozambique. Initial slated for Sunday, 26th of October 2025. The decisive encounter will now take place on Saturday, October 25th, 2025 at 4 p.m. at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. The change in date was officially communicated to both clubs, with CAF citing administrative adjustment in the competition fixture calendar. Rivers United, who lost the first leg 1-0 in Motopo, face a tough task as they look to overturn the deficit in the advance of the group stage of the African Premier League club. The Pride of Rivers would need to score at least 2 goals without conceding to progress through the Black Bulls, which required just a draw or scoring to defeat to seal their qualification. Something there you have it. Rivers United game postponed already, moving backward till Saturday, right there at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, and a must-win game for the boys. We know it's a dead rubber tie already for Remo Stars. We need Rivers United to still give us the hope to playing in the CAF Champions League.
Well, it's really disheartening that Remo Stars have to be in that situation. They lost 5-1 at home, and the second leg is more or less like a formality. And if not because of commitment, they probably might not have needed to travel to South Africa. If you lose at home 5-1 against the Mamelodi Sundowns, one can only wonder how much it will be. In fact, Sundowns might just decide to rotate their starting 11 to give some other players a run of games and see what they can also bring to the table. So that as much as it will be a disrespect to the Nigerian team Remo Stars, if I was the coach, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my starting 11 or give some other players some game time. I mean, at least they know they are playing against an inferior opponent. So that's the arrangement. And for Rivers United, they actually stand a chance of qualifying. The first leg ended of course, they lost 1-0, and they have everything to prove when playing at home. So if they could be so tough at the back and lose just by 1 goal against the champions, when coming back home, they should be able to get as many goals as possible. And if they do that and they avoid conceding, I mean, that puts them in a very good place. But unfortunately, football is not done on paper. It's not played on paper. It's not mathematics that you would just think, oh, if it happened this way, it should happen this way. But they are in a very tight corner. They lost the first leg. They have everything to prove, and the approach should be, don't concede. As long as you have not considered, you stand a chance of scoring a goal. And once you get one goal, you are on parity, and they will know they have nothing to lose. They have to come out. And when they come out, what's your plan to hit them on the counter? So these are the things. It's also an approach. You soak up pressure so that your opponents can come at you. And you know you have dangerous men on the flanks, and you have a striker that can convert half chances. If you have all that in place, I think they are home and dry. But if they don't have that in place, it's a challenge. They might just crash out just like Remo Stars.
Okay, let's talk about Remo Stars. We hope for the very best for Rivers United to be able to get that victory on Saturday against the Black Bulls of Mozambique. But right about now, we're talking from the camp of Remo Stars as the CAF Champions League South Africa Embassy frustrated Remo Stars ahead of the Mamelodi Sundown clash. Remo Stars' preparation for the crucial CAF Champions League clash against the Mamelodi Sundowns have been drawn into disarray following delays from South Africa Embassy in processing their travel visa. Out of 43 visa applications submitted by the Nigerian football for processing, only 26 passports were returned on Wednesday, and shockingly, just 12 of them belong to the players. The Sky Blue Stars were scheduled to depart Nigeria by 1 a.m. on Thursday for Pretoria, but the club has now been forced to cancel the rescheduling their flight as well their hotel reservation due to incomplete visa approvals. According to report, Remo Stars had submitted their visa applications as early as October the 10th, 2025. In compliance with CAF travel guidelines for international club competitions. However, the delay for South Africa authorities has disrupted the club travels and match preparations, raising concerns ahead of the high-stake encounter. The first leg tie against the reigning African champions Mamelodi Sundowns are expected to take place this weekend, but uncertainty now surrounds Remo Stars' travel plans as they await remaining visas for the players, officials. And this is not the first time Nigerian clubs have faced this and have been traveling for continental assignment. The incident once again highlighted logistical challenges confronting teams on African states. Something that you have with Remo Stars having back and forth against the South African Embassy, and they have a game ahead of this one. But right now, it looks like they've been pegged back to try and sort out this issue. I'm sure it's going to be a big one for the club like Remo Stars, looking at where they are at this point in time. The first leg ended 5-1, and now it's looking like a disjointed situation for them going into South Africa.
Well, you can't. That's one thing that will definitely happen, especially when football is mixed with politics, and it's rather unfortunate that this is happening. The CAF president right now is Mostepe. He's a South African. I mean, these issues should not get to a stage where players are being denied visas. These are registered players that can easily be confirmed through CAF who were registered for the tournament. So tell me why the visa issue. So it's more politics than football.
And has been submitted since October 10.
That's the problem. They knew they were going to go for this, for this game, and they submitted passports. And then, unfortunately, when it is time to actually go for this, and you are just bringing
12.
Just 12. Only 12 of them are players.
Out of 48.
So what they are saying is this is just an avenue and an opportunity to frustrate the team. And when they come, even when these visas come out, Remo Stars should just expect more frustrations from the South Africans. One of the things they could do to them is that you get to the airport and they will not provide logistics. Be rest assured that will happen, unless they already know that people are talking about this. And after that, the hotel reservations, you will be frustrated. I mean, these are just archaic ways of teams in Africa to frustrate other teams. Sometimes, you want to train, there's no training facility. These are things, the home team should provide.
And it should not be.
And it should not be. Originally should not be. But this is Africa. When everyone does their things in, Sena climbs, it's a word I really do not enjoy using. When you say Sena climbs, does that mean we are not sent here? But unfortunately, we have found ourselves in that situation. The challenge now lies where we really do not believe in protocols. When things happen, we sometimes believe in our own ways of doing things. And as Africans, it is rather insensitive, or not sensible enough to actually carry some things out. You could remember a time when Nigeria went to play, I think that was Libya. They were abandoned at the airport. and they had to wait for hours. They were so tired, some of them were already sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
So that was the African way of doing. Let's frustrate them. So when they are frustrated, when they want to play, they will play nonsense.
Morale,
I mean, that's not commonsensical.
I agree.
It's not commonsensical. This is an age where Africans should be fighting for innovation. Not when we are going back to the black old days. I mean, we should be involved.
How many European teams have we heard talk about, delayed visa or whatnot?
In fact, when again I want to use the word the cenacle. I mean, it really saddens me that I use it sometimes. You see, when you get to those places, it was even the home team that will be asking you questions about your arrangement. Oh, do you have this? Do you have that? Yeah. These are things they will make available for you if you have not made preparation for it. So there are engagements and commitments. The home team have their own engagements. Oh, you are coming. You already have your bookings and the likes. They provide training facility to you, well furnished. You don't have to want anything. You don't have to request for anything. Once you get there, you know everything you need that they also will be provided for you.
I agree.
How many African teams do that? There was a time Nigeria went to play a particular team, and then they gave them a training pitch which belonged to a secondary school. It's still in Africa. And unfortunately, it is South Africa again. When Nigeria had to play South Africa in the return leg, at the World Cup qualifier, and the training facilities that was given to them, you will laugh. In fact, before that facility was provided, they had to train on the hard surface in their hotel. So meaning that it was a deliberate attempt to frustrate. When we frustrate you, you play nonsense. That's the idea.
And what's the idea behind it? Why?
Again, it is common sense. It's not commonsensical. So let's now shelve that.
I agree.
What do you stand to gain by frustrating these people with visas? The only thing that will happen is that the match will be postponed. Eventually, you will provide this visa. But why do you have to go through all that? You won the first leg 5-1. So this is not Nigeria and South Africa playing. This is Red Monsters and Mamelodi Sundowns playing. So let's leave
that you have
national rivalry
already.
National rivalry should be placed aside. Now you have 4 goals advantage because you scored 5 in Nigeria. They only scored 1. So it is as close as we can say you are home and dry in this encounter. So why the first? So it's for me it's a challenge that. Unfortunately, Mostepe has to solve because he's in charge, and these are letters you should have written in the first place. Yeah. You see, when you are going through this, the CAF president has the right to write a letter to the embassy. Yes, they are playing this social competition. It will be hosted in South Africa. Did they go through this issue when they were coming to Nigeria?
At all?
No. Because it is the responsibility of the NFF to take charge of this kind of situation and write to the Ministry of Interior that, look, we are having visitors. They are also in number. We have done our background checks there and they are all registered with CAF as players and officials of this team. That should be done by CAF too with the South African. So there should be a liaising officer, someone that liaises with both bodies and say, look, this is I mean, it's just Africa. This is Africa.
We hope for the best for Africa, and we hope that Remo Stars are sorted out on time for the game against Mamelodi Sundowns right there in South Africa. Let's talk about the Flamingos. The girls are not doing justice on the field of play. They lost to France 1-0. Flamingos suffer second straight defeat at the Under-17 Women's World Cup. Nigeria's Under-17 Women's National Team, the Flamingos, fell to the second consecutive defeat at the 2025 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, following a narrow 1 loss to France on Wednesday in Morocco. Having opened their campaign with a 4-0 loss to Canada, the Flamingos came into this clash against the French side, hoping to turn their fortunes around and keep their hopes of progressing to the knockout stage alive. In a tightly contested encounter, both sides created chances but failed to convert until the 81st minute when Marcia Fatila broke the deadlock to earn France all 3 points. The defeat leaves Nigeria rooted to the bottom of the group with 0 points from 2 matches and 5-goal difference minus. Despite the back-to-back losses, the Flamingos still have a mathematical chance. That's the problem. A mathematical chance of advancing to the round of 16 as the 4th best placed team from the group stage. Will also progress. However, Nigeria would need a convincing win over Samoa in their final group match like a margin of 5 goals or more to boost their chances of qualification. Coach Bankole Olowokere and his team will now shift focus to the must-win clash against Samoa, where only a high-scoring victory could keep their World Cup hopes alive. There you have it on the screen. Something you look at the attempts for the Flamingos, a 12 attempt at goal, 8 free kicks, 10 to 9 offside. Those are the starter for that game against France, and France had to pick up that one in the 81st minute of that game right there in Morocco. And let's look at what the table is saying for the mathematical situation. But before that, something, it's not looking too good for the Flamingos, and it has not been looking too good for our under-8 team, in competition this year. It's been a massive, massive, massive struggle. I was speaking to you earlier on the show. I said, somebody was asking, are these the same girls that played qualifiers and also friendly games, and are they the same people playing this competition at this point in time?
You see, unfortunately, we still have to talk about this. And it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. They have found themselves in a very difficult position. And unfortunately, again, this year, Nigerians have to buy calculators to calculate what the future holds for the team. The Flamingos have, until recently, which is the current competition, they have always been the source of joy for most Nigerians when it comes to what they enjoy, football. They play good football, players are well selected, especially for the teams. Now, let me come in here. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with a broadcaster too, who is a sports journalist, and was saying, how do we select players when you realize, especially in the goalkeeping department, some of these players are selected, and you realize first choice goalkeepers in their teams are not, getting called up. But players who are sitting on the bench, they are in the team. Where's the problem coming from? Unfortunately, that's the area. Yesterday, there was a player who played for France against Nigeria. I think that was Rachel Adedine or something. She's a Nigerian, a Yoruba by race. And eventually, we got to know that she offered to play for Nigeria, but was turned down. And we have had history of that when players will be turned down and then they will request for money for, if you can provide $5,000, you make it to the team. And the mentality for players who develop abroad is totally different. They feel, I want to offer a service and I want to help my nation, so I don't expect to pay. But in Nigeria, it happened to Kylian Mbappe too, which came where it was, some things happened and then they requested for money and the father said, look, it will be better for him not to play for Cameroon.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. So it's basically a challenge when it comes to player selection. And why did I say that? We've seen goalkeepers with Rivers Angels, we've seen goalkeepers with Niger Rattles and so many other teams in the Ibom Angels who are very good. And then when it comes to team selection, they are not in the team. Why? And players who are actually sitting on the bench and obviously sitting on the bench will make it into the team. So it's a challenge when it comes to selection. And I feel like this team, I've said it about 4 times, that this team was tampered with. It could be in terms of selection, and it could also be in terms of ideology by the coach. Coach Bankole Olowokere is not a small fry when it comes to coaching. But why is he failing? Something is wrong somewhere. It could be someone was saying, look, this player has to be in the starting 11, and he has to put the player there. Unfortunately, it will affect the team, it will affect their performance, it will affect the reputation of the coach. Now, with this kind of performance, will you offer Coach Bankole another job? That's the problem. Unfortunately, some of our coaches who have failed woefully recently, they are still getting called up. We have had eras where Ladamboso failed, Salisu Yusuf failed, but unfortunately, they made their way back into the team. So, in terms of being consistent with results, I think Nigeria and NFF, they are not really concerned. As long as you do their bidding, you get a job. And as long as you are playing their kind of players, you get the job. It is one thing for you to offer a player that can do the job. And then so put this player in your team. That is one. If the player can do it, fine. Let him be there. But if the player is not qualified to be on the field of play, must we play? And there comes the era of national, what do we call the quota system, the federal character. They will say, you must pick 5 Hausa players. Oh, 10 Yoruba players.
I saw that
15 Igbo players.
Yeah.
Oh, someone said, oh, the Super Eagles was failing because there was no Hausa in it. I mean, we should have developed beyond this level of reasoning. That's totally unacceptable. That's low. That's totally unacceptable.
What fail you now?
In the year 2020, in the year 2025.
Yeah.
You see, when the Great Britain hosted the Olympics, I think that was just a few years ago. They had to come together to host the Olympics, and they needed to provide a team. And majority of the players that made that team were English. Don't forget, when you are talking about GB, Great Britain,
yeah.
it consists of not just England.
Yeah.
There were other, Wales is also part, Scotland too.
Yes, Ireland.
And Ireland.
Yeah.
But the quality players that could represent them well were from England. And none of them complained about it, just that, oh, for character's sake, these players are also qualified to consider them when you are considering players. And they brought together a team of players who were qualified to be there. Yeah. James Tompkins, for example, was part of the team. When he came back to West Ham United, he had to sit on the bench because his time, someone else took the shirt and was doing well. That was, during that time. I think it was Phil Collins that took his shirt at the time. So, they were able to do that in the Senna climb. Again, I'm using that word. So, they were able to bring out a team from the Great Britain, and they were all qualified. But in Nigeria, if you are not doing well, regardless of where you are coming from, I mean, there was a time when, there are so many players from the southeast, south, and the north in the team, and I think at that time it was just Yusuf Ayila who was a Yoruba in the team at the time. And nobody in the Southwest complained about that because they were doing fine. The team was doing fine. But unfortunately, at every corner you turn in Nigeria, they're already talking about federal character. Oh, and now, you have to put an Hausa. Oh, you have to put an Igbo man. Maybe we should start, having 2 players or 3 players in a particular position. So you put one Hausa, one Igbo, one Yoruba.
Yeah, so let's have everybody in all positions. So
because that is the current reason. I agree. But we can do better. We can do better. Because if we fail to do beyond that, this is the kind of result we will continue to get.
Before we move on, ranking of the 3rd place teams at this point in time, Samson, you look at it and it's a massive struggle. We are going to win. We need to win 5-0 against Samoa. Why are we at this stage, at this point in time, quickly?
Well, it's because we have failed to do the right thing at the right time, and we are in a very deadly situation. Unfortunately, I was thinking if they were able to get a draw against France, they almost, but in the 81st minute they conceded. And if they were able to get a draw, I mean, if they got a draw against France, they probably will be fighting for the same position with Costa Rica and Ivory Coast. Meaning that if they win against Samoa, they might not need as much goals to qualify. Unfortunately, they are going to pick 4 teams in the 3rd place teams, and if that is done, they really have to win massively, and that is because there is a chance that Ivory Coast and any other team, they might just lose. They might even lose their game, and then that puts them in a very fine place. But unfortunately, see, football is not mathematics. So you cannot just do 2 + 2 and say, oh, that will be the result of the game. If Samoa could score 2 goals against France, so it means that they can score 3 goals against Nigeria. So you cannot really say what will happen. So I'm not too sure we can get that kind of result we need.
All right, let's move away from that. We hope for the very best for Flamingos to pick up a qualification for the round of 16. Let's look at the CAF nominations that popped up yesterday. We have the Player of the Year. We have Zambo Guisa, the man also from Cape Verde. We have Mohamed Salah. We have another man from Gabon. We have Sergio Gurasi. We have Achraf Hakimi. We have another man, Uhani, from Morocco. We have Victor Osimhen. We have Ismaila Ndiaye and also Pape Matar right there for Senegal. Something. Let's move back to the Player of the Year quickly. Something your top 3, if you have to pick your top 3, and who are you crowning the CAF Player of the Year and why? Quickly.
Well, as it stands, if you look at the quality of players in that team, Anguissa did so well for Napoli last season, and it's really going to be a dicey on Mohamed Salah. Yes, won the league title with Liverpool, and you know, had a wonderful performance. And if you look at Sekou Girassi for Borussia Dortmund, was firing on all cylinders. You know, did so well. Unfortunately, could not win the league as Bayern Munich was there. Ashraf Hakimi with Paris Saint-Germain, fantastic player, was instrumental in how they won all 4 trophies last season. They probably would have won 5, say for Chelsea, you know, winning against them in the Club World Cup. Victor Osimhen had issues with transfer, went to Galatasaray, did excellently well, got through trophies. But if you compare the two right now, who stand a chance of winning is between Ashraf Hakimi and Victor Osimhen. Because it's not just you about your personal performance, it's about what you brought to the team. And Morocco last year, they were not bad. This season too, they have not been too bad. For Nigeria, they are struggling to qualify for the World Cup. So Victor Osimhen's performance for the team might not really, you know, count for the Super Eagles. And of course, it did not win as much trophies as Ashraf Hakimi. So it's not just about goals now. It's about your contribution for the team. So I'm pushing Ashraf Hakimi to win the Player of the Year, or maybe Victor Osimhen will come second, but might be a narrow victory for Ashraf Hakimi.
All right, let's see what you think about that in the comment section. Who do you think should be crowned the Player of the Year for CAF? Drop that in the comment section. Let's move away from that. Let's move quickly to other nominations. Then you have the Goalkeeper of the Year, Stanley Nwabali, making the list. Yasu Bono, I don't know why Samson Balogun is laughing. We have Andre Onana also making the list. Randall Williams, Edward Mendy, and you can go to mention names. Samson Balogun, you don't look happy with the list. Why? For me, if I'm to pick, I would go for Yasu Bono to pick up that one.
Well, to be candid, these are fantastic goalkeepers. Shenawi for Egypt, fantastic one. Also plays his football in Egypt. And you look at fantastic goalkeepers like Andre Onana, in the lineup, and you are really happy that, you know, this nomination is being well done. I mean, fantastic nomination. Ron Williams of South Africa, fantastic goalkeeper too. Stanley Nwabali, as he would love to be called, is also there. Edward Mendy, the forgotten man, who now plays in Saudi Arabia, is also on the list. But you see, unless you want to lie to yourself, some of these players, in fact, it would have been better if, you know, the nomination is limited to maybe 4 or 5.
I agree.
But
because
you know,
I'm wondering why we have been so... Come on, go
you see, sometimes CAF deliberately, you know, make fun of African football. And you begin to wonder what exactly is the problem. This same man, Andre Onana, was shipped out of Manchester United through the back door to Turkey. And he's making the list of the best goalkeepers in Africa. I mean, we can do better in Africa, actually. And, you know, whoever is in charge of nominations and, you know, whoever, I mean, no matter how many they are, they should have done better. And some names really should not be here. But if I'm to pick one person, I think Yasin Bono. He deserves the recognition. Fantastic. Maybe after that, we'll talk about Shenawi of Egypt.
All right, let's move away from that. Let's look at more nominations right there in CAF. It's massive nominations popping up. Interclub Player of the Year. Let's move on quickly away from that. Also, look at the list. Fantastic list. Coach, Man of the Year. Our Justin Madugu, and also Eric Shield did not make that list. But for the Young Player of the Year, let's go back to the Young Player of the Year quickly. Daniel Bameyi made the list, for the Young Player of the Year for Nigeria. Fantastic one for the young man to be there topping that one. Let's move away from that quickly. My main focus is, this is my main focus, the National Team of the Year. Samson Balogun, Nigeria did not make the National Team of the Year. Truly deserved, or maybe an omission?
So which team do you want to present?
No, Samson Balogun.
I just want to be clear.
Which team to be clear, if I'm to be clear, if Ghana is making the list, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, the national team of Nigeria, should be making the list. If Cape Verde, fantastic run for them, but if Algeria is making the list, come on, if Tunisia is making the list, I think Nigeria should make the list. Out of anybody, if Ghana, Algeria, or Tunisia, I want to know the same. What is the the basis of this pick that Nigeria did not make this list? Because the last year, come on, Samson Balogun.
Now let's be clear. Has Egypt qualified for the World Cup?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Has Algeria qualified for the World Cup?
Yes, they have.
Cape Verde, have they qualified for the World Cup?
Yes, they have.
All right. Ghana, have they qualified for the World Cup? See, don't deceive yourself about nominations. You see, when people nominate, even South Africa, they are at the World Cup already. So if anyone has, nominated these teams, they have a reason. they are not nominating struggling teams. These are teams that qualified without issues. They qualified without having any issue. So it's not just about loyalty. Yes, I know, understand you want to be patriotic.
No,
you are
I'm
a Nigerian, and I'm not even being patriotic. You want to defend the green, white, green flag.
I'm sure this pick is not because of the qualification for World Cup. That cannot be one of the major pick. Why
now it's not just for the World Cup.
Yes.
Now let's be clear. For Morocco under 20, what did they do?
Come on, no, I can't. Yes, Morocco.
For Morocco national team,
I give them the flowers.
All right, and when you look at the qualifying series, none of these teams struggled during the qualifying series. They did so well in the qualifying series. So, and when you are talking about within the time frame, some of the things they will use in judging teams that will qualify to be nominated is how they did during that period. And these qualifying games were part of the games they played during that period. And check the caliber of friendly games they also played. And now they feared in those friendly games. Most of them played high-profile friendly matches with top teams. And they did so well.
We won the good cup.
So it's more or less like the norm now. If you are not doing fine, nobody is packaging you because you are a big name. As long as you are not doing fine. I mean, how do you put a striker, a big name, a striker that has not scored in the last 12 games, alongside a striker who nobody really knows and is doing so well? So you are as good as your last result. So this is the last result that we are seeing. And Nigeria is not there. So we have to accept that we are not as good as these teams as we speak.
I'll wake up to reality.
That's the point. So if you want to see green, white, green, I think you can take green from Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. You can take white from Algeria, and you can take another green from Senegal. So green, white, green is there.
All right, let's move away from the CAF Award and let's talk the Champions League night of football. All right, there you have it. Fantastic one. These are the run. Victor Osimhen had 7 goals, 7 assists, 41 matches, 2 trophies. And I think, like Samson has said, it's going to be a close one between Victor Osimhen and Achraf Hakimi. But for me, it's going to be Achraf Hakimi all the way because, the last time out against Ademola Lookman, it came so close. And look at what Morocco, as a country, has done this year. I think, it's just okay for him to be the poster boy.
9 goals as a defender, as a right back, 12 assists. I mean, you are not the only player on the field. You're playing in the back line, so you are doing fine.
Fantastic one, for Achraf Hakimi. Let's move away from that and let's talk the UEFA Champions League night of football. There you have it. Athletic Club defeating Karabag 3-1. Also, you look at Victor Osimhen getting a brace yesterday. A fantastic one against Bodo Glimt. Also, you look at Bayern Munich. Kyle, fantastic goal from that young man at 17 years old. The youngest man for Bayern Munich to score a goal in the UEFA Champions League. Harry Kane still in goal. Jude Bellingham getting a goal against the Old Ladies of Turin. 1-0. It's back-to-back action right there in the Champions League. More fixtures and more results. Chelsea, yes, come on. You look at the young stars. I was even worried to say, what's happening to Enzo? But, you have to dig that one out. A red card from Ajax. Chelsea flying high.
Maguire, set a record, and then a few minutes later, it was broken by
Esteval. Esteval also, I think, Tarek George also on the score sheet also. Come on, it's back-to-back record right there for Chelsea. Let's move on quickly away from the Chelsea game. Eintracht Frankfurt, Samson Balogun.
Well, we all thought it was going to be a very tough one for Liverpool against Eintracht Frankfurt, especially when playing in Germany. But they showed exactly how classy they are. And if you look at some of the players who have been under fire for underperformance this season, they are on the score sheet. And that's Konate, that's Virgil van Dijk right there, Dominic Szoboszlai, Cody Gakpo, Ugo Ekitike, they are all on the score sheet. These are Florian Wirtz got 2 assists. I mean, those are the players who complained about so far this season.
Manchester United walk
on their side. So these are players people complained about. Florian Wirtz getting 2 assists for the first time this season. That was his first and second assist this season. I mean, I hope that spurs him on to better performances.
I agree. And also, you look at Ugo Ekitike scoring against his former team. Szoboszlai also, once played on the turf of Germany. You look at Florian Wirtz also once played. So I think we should take our feedback to Germany. Maybe we'll see more wins for Liverpool.
Well, I think if the senior players in the team wake up to their responsibilities, I think it will be a lot better because you can only lead from the back and also you can also lead from the front, depending on where you are on the field of play. For Virgil van Dijk, he has been the source of strength for Liverpool, especially with his coordinating abilities from the back. He's been fantastic. Just that he had deep in form in the last few games, especially since the beginning of this season. I'm seeing him getting back to what they used to know him for, but unfortunately, age is not on his side. One day, just like Sami Apia left Liverpool, just like Jamie Carragher left Liverpool, and some other top-notch defenders, Martin Skrtel too, also left the team. This player will also go, and of course, will end up being on the bench someday that you have to play other players too.
All right, let's look at more results. Sporting CP getting a victory ahead of Olympic Marseille. I was shocked to see this one, but it had to happen. 2-1. All right, let's move away from that. Monaco against Tottenham Hotspur. The game ended goalless. Also, we had Atlanta against Slavia Prague. This game did not make me happy yesterday. Samson Balogun, trust me. But it is what it is. Ademola Lookman was in action. 71 goals are scored in a single match week. A fantastic one in the UEFA Champions League. Now, there's a record set for that one. There's a record set for that, actually. And it gave so much flavor to the game yesterday in the UEFA Champions League. On Tuesday, we had 43 goals. On Wednesday, we had 28 goals. A new Champions League record. Fantastic one to see the game of action. Let's move away from the Champions League result. There you have it already. Samson Balogun is already shaping up for some teams. Paris Saint-Germain, 9 point. Bayern Munich, 9 point. Inter Milan, 9 point. Arsenal are flying high this season. If you're an Arsenal fan, I give you your flowers as a fan, and also, rooting for your club. I'm hoping for the very best that you don't bottle this season. But Arsenal also winning all games. You look at Madrid, also the Galacticos, Borussia Dortmund, something already shaping up already. The knockout phase already also shaping up. But for you, Samson, let's talk about the elimination before we wrap up to the world of basketball. Ajax, Benfica, Jose Mourinho not getting the job done for Benfica. Malte, you look at Olympiacos, Copenhagen, Villarreal, Bayern Leverkusen. Are this the team you want to see in the elimination spot? Are you okay with this team in the elimination spot?
Unfortunately, some of the big teams that are, even if they are going to crash out of the UEFA Champions League, should still make the UEFA Europa League and Conference. They are really having issues as we speak, and that's you are talking about teams like Bayer Leverkusen, Juventus, maybe Monaco to an extent, Benfica, Ajax, Villarreal too.
I think Villarreal should be playing. They should go back to playing
UEFA Europa League.
Yeah,
they are pros. They are pros in that competition.
The likes of Sevilla
during the era of Unai Emery, he did so well for them in that competition. So they sort of make it theirs. Yeah. But Jose Mourinho has played 2 matches in the UEFA Champions League. One against Chelsea, the other, yesterday, and he lost. I
think it's time to hang the boots. I think
it's not just about hanging the boots. You see, the challenge is when teams do have issues about some things, and Benfica had an issue. Jose Mourinho was called in to be the firefighter, just like Sean Dyche has been, given a job for Nottingham Forest. So it's going to be difficult to instill a style of play at the same time, fight for, silverware. So they will have to let one go at this time to maintain a balance. Probably they will let go of the UEFA Champions League and just focus on the league and maintain, a certain level of competence and competition. And when that is done, you can now focus on other competitions. But as it stands, you cannot fight 2-3 battles with the same energy Benfica currently have. So they really have to slow down a little bit and focus on the league, at least to qualify for the next UEFA Champions League. And once that is done, you know that you are really ready for the competition. So that's the problem. And for other teams that are still struggling, the round of 16 is just around the corner.
Yeah, true.
But there are still a few games to be played.
Yeah, true.
And things can still be turned around.
Yeah, I agree with you.
For everything that are on 7, 9, 6 points right now, things can still turn. What if they stop winning and then things turn? So
I'll fall back.
So it's really a challenge. Napoli has 3 points, 1 game, and then they are in the other side. So let's see what will happen. And if that is the situation, I think some other teams will have to buckle up. All
right, we hope for the very best for other teams, FC Barcelona, Liverpool, and the likes right there in the elimination stage of the Champions League. Let's talk basketball. We love the 3-point and the 6-pointer. Radio Paparazzi. Let's look at Anthony Edwards right there, making that one for Minnesota Timberwolves and Portland Trail Blazers. The game ended 118-114. And you see Anthony Edwards with 41.7 rebounds and 5 3-pointers. Massive one for the man this season. Is back in action. Let's look at more results right there in the basketball, the NBA. Also, we have Sacramento Kings getting that one for themselves also 116, massive one for them against a 116. I mean 116 to 120. You have Devin Booker also
Very
getting
close.
very close one, 31.5 rebounds and 3 assists. Let's move on to more result. There you have it. Victor Wembanyama 40.15 rebounds and 3 block. 125 to 92. Let's move on to more result right there. Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this season we are seeing the big guns are, firing from all, cylinder, like we would say. Yes, they're making assessment. 37.14 rebound and 5 assists right there. Let's look at more and more result. There you have Nikola Jovic, fantastic one, also 20.14 rebounds. But results still popping over. Boston Celtic, close edging that one, 117 to 116. Let's look at more and more result right there in the Champions League. Paolo getting that one, 121 to 125, 24 points and 11 rebounds. RJ Barrett also 138 to 118. He had 24.8 rebounds. We have Mela also getting that one 117 to 136. All right, that's the update from the world of basketball. But I promise you, next week we would have an expert analyst in the world of basketball join us on the show, via Zoom to talk about basketball right here on Dominion Sport. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that joined us on the show this wonderful morning. Samson Balogun, a big thank you to you.
Good to be here.
Something is itching me to ask you for another motivation again. But I hope that you give us something to jack us up for today. One word?
Motivation.
Yeah.
Well, in life, it's always good to disrespect people. When you see them, just disrespect them. It works. It works. Try it, and then you thank me later.
All right. That's all we can take on the show this wonderful morning. Stay blessed, stay safe, and enjoy yourself. Bye for now.